what worked, what flopped, and really, what did we learn in the process?
Welcome to the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Boys, I got to tell you, I felt like Shooter McGavin there for a second.
I so did I. I was, let's drop some
did
bombs.
I really hit the button? Is it good? Is the video about to play here? Did I hit the button? It was kind of one of those. Did we screw up already? Good morning, boys.
Are we even live?
I think we're live. It says end stream, so we're live. I think we just don't have an audience yet. Nobody said hello to us yet. We're just, we're useless.
Everyone's
we're
hopped off.
Here.
Everyone's still lining up for their Starbucks red cups, right? So that's the reason why.
Starbucks red cups. So I think we all got to go to Starbucks today and get red cups, and then bring them on the show tomorrow.
No, it was a yesterday thing only. So it's a once. You know what? I'm actually gonna look it up to see what the revenue all across the world was for just yesterday's impact. So it was yesterday alone. So happy red cup. We'll see you next year, I guess.
Well, it's kind of like people from Twitter. We'll see you later. Yesterday, apparently, holy crap, there was some mass exodus. And you know what? I remember Ryan, you saying that you think Twitter's kind of going down.
Yeah.
I got a question, and it's totally off topic from logistics.
It's Friday.
But it's Friday. I think Elon's got this master plan for something, because he said, like, unless you're a die-hard Twitter, get out. And yesterday, the Wall Street Journal reported like a mass exodus of employees from Twitter. Now, I'm obviously never been part of a big tech giant, and understanding tech, computer runs most things, but I know there's always going to be a human element to it, right? So at what point does the Twitter platform suffer from people not being there? Like, I don't know, and I don't know enough about it, and maybe somebody in our audience does, and maybe they can fill us in, but I do know one thing. When you have diehards, 5 diehards can do better work than 20 casual kind of, as David Long, good friend of mine, David Long, who wrote Built to Lead, says, you got 3 Clydesdales pulling 15 donkeys.
Yeah. And
the idea is to get Clydesdales in. And I see that as Elon's play, is to get all these Clydesdales in, because 3 Clydesdales, if you just cut the 15 donkeys, those three Clydesdales can do more than 15 donkeys and 3 Clydesdales, because the donkeys actually hold them back, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't see a guy that smart throwing away $44 billion to say my prick's bigger than yours, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know. I don't know. I just, there's got to be a different plan in place here. What do you guys
think? So before everything, from what I've read, at least before everything happened, Elon was on the board. He was on the board of Twitter, right? And then he made a tweet saying that, maybe one day I should just buy Twitter, right? So when he made that tweet, he did that as a shareholder, like somebody actually on the board, right? And then what I believe was that he was kind of forced, kind of pigeonholed. Well, you said you're going to buy it, you got to follow through, right? So what I've kind of read is that he had to buy it, and the previous owner, Jack Dorsey, he's already started his other like Twitter, I don't say what is it, competitor, but they've already started, and everyone who's kind of got laid off, he's kind of brought them into the fold with his company, so with his startup, right? So you just look at Twitter as a whole, right? Because I'll be honest with you, the best thing that I learned from Twitter, I learned that what was his name, Osama bin Laden, that he was killed by the government on Twitter. Twitter's a great news source to find out things, right? And I deleted my Twitter maybe 5 years ago because I would just be wasting time on it, right? But I think once you kind of get back into that, and then there was an announcement this week in the US that a certain somebody's coming back for 2024 for that presidential run. So I'm interested to see what the future is, right? I know we're talking about Twitter here, but it's important because we do stream on Twitter, so so it should be.
Well, that's it. And do you guys like Jim Jeffries?
I don't even know who that is.
The comedian Jim Jeffries. He's the Australian comedian.
Jeff, I think you're on mute, brother.
I think you're muted there, brother.
He's got the Geek Squad coming. He's like talking to them on the side there. But yeah, Jim Jeffries, I'm not too sure, but what about him?
So he actually he had a special called Freedom, and in the special he talks about when a certain person was going to be elected. He says, you know what? Part of me says, fuck it, let's just bring him in and see how screwed up shit gets. And
I
it's
will.
just when you said the 2024, I just thought of that and I started
I'll never
laughing. But
forget
anyway.
that. Like that year, I think it was like 2016. I was working at my first freight brokerage, and yeah, my boss and I was just literally me and my boss in on that day, and we were just talking. We're like, "What if it happens?" You know, because everybody thought like Hillary was going to land. And I'm not trying to make this political because
No,
I
no,
don't
I
really
don't want it to
care
be.
too much about things like that. But it was just kind of like a throwaway vote. You know, like anytime it's like, "Hey, maybe I'll just throw this vote away and see what happens." And hey, he lucked it out and he won, right? So I'm interested to see what the next 2 years kind of bring because, like, you guys have always said, Jeff has said this a million times. It's like, you know, like the US, they sneeze and Canada has pneumonia, right? So looking forward to what the kind of future is looking like.
Jeff, you got audio there, brother?
He's going to do sign language for us today. So
Yeah. Can you hear us?
yeah, maybe
Yeah, he can hear
log
us.
out and
Okay.
come back in, brother. But Dan, man, let's
So
get started, man, because today is a
let's
big
get
day. I know
started.
last week we're
Good
talking
morning, Scott.
from there.
Good morning,
What were the big
Daman.
words for the week, my friend?
Morning, Lisa. Okay, so I'm actually ecstatic this week. So I've been, and I don't know if I've told you guys or if I've said anything on air, but I've been having so many issues learning how to eat again. Like so many issues. I was 197 when I went into my treatment. I was like 162 at one point. So like that's a lot of weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, when we went in and I decided, and the plan was, okay, now we're going to start weaning off of the feeding tube and going to oral. Within like a week, I lost another 9 pounds, and very frustrating. Starting to get to you mentally, really starting to affect your mental health because it's like you have plans and
Mm-hmm.
you can't achieve the plans because I've said this a couple of times. Your
Check
vehicle doesn't
one,
get you there.
two. There you go.
There we go. You're back on. And this week, I'm able to eat soup without an issue.
Let's go.
I'm able to eat scrambled eggs now without an issue. We kind of through working with my speech pathologist and my wife, we've come up with a plan for the next couple of weeks. In speaking to, and it's funny because we have this perception of where we are, and it's like, should I be further? Should I not? And I talk to people that have gone through what I went through. Like, in one person I know finished his treatment at the beginning of November, and by the end of December, he was eating Christmas dinner.
Nice.
And I'm like, I'm 2 full months into this right now. Like I'm on week 9, and I'm barely getting through a bowl of soup at last week. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so you start thinking to yourself, like, what's wrong with me? How come I'm not healing as fast? Like I'm a healthy guy. I'm young. But it's everybody's journey's different. But and it's funny because this goes back to sales. You never compare your journey to somebody else's journey. You always compare it to that extreme journey. The guy doing 50, 60 G's a week, and you're not. And it's like, why am I not doing that? But you don't pay attention to the person that's been in the industry for 2 years with you. That's right around the same time as you. This person's been in it 10 years, and why am I not there? Right? It's just this human thing we do. So that's my big win for the week, was mentally. Had some really great conversations with some really great people that brought me back to reality. Putting all these things or these milestones on me, like even to the point where we booked time away. My wife and Christine and I are going away for my birthday, and booked a reservation at the Outback because part of what I want to eat is the blooming onion from the Outback, right? Don't know if I'll be able to do it realistically, but it's like, so I'm putting all this pressure on myself to meet these false obligations that I think I should be at. So I just had to kind of tone it back a bit.
Yeah.
But in toning it back, it affected me mentally, and my mental health was impacted huge because I'm not the guy that tones anything back. I'm the guy that says, this is where I want to go. And I will move every single mountain to get there. And even if I hit here, I aim way higher than anyone else. So like even my doctor 2 days ago was like, well, let's look at SMART goals. And I'm like, oh, don't tell me about SMART goals, because I've never been that guy. But control the controllables. I can't control
that's exactly
how
right.
fast my body heals, right? I can't. I as much as I would like to, I could do everything in my power to help heal it, meaning like eat really good soups, eat yogurt, like I'm eating yogurt now, drink my milk, have my shakes, put the nutrients in my body that can help me heal. But the reality is the radiation I went through and the chemo I went through is the harshest radiation and chemo they have now. And my body just needs to heal. And it's like Maggie said, I have to be grateful that you're past the storm. Thank you, Maggie. And I do. I have to be grateful for that. So this week has been a real mind shift week for me. I'm and here's the thing, guys, when you, and I'm sure I've said this before, and I apologize, Ryan, because I know Ryan's like, Dan, you repeat yourself a lot.
Dan, we should give you like a 2-minute timer, man. We gotta get there. Like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
When you go through something like this, the desire and the goal as to what you want to achieve in the end is a big fire. And when you can't get there, it's even more frustrating. So anyone that might be going through that, just if I can give you any piece of advice, it's exactly what Maggie says. Be grateful for where you are and where you've come from. Like DJ says, we all have our own journeys and our own crosses to bear, and it's true. But try your hardest not to let it affect your overall mental health, because once that's like, it's like Marcus says. He says, bend, don't break, because once your spirit breaks, it's a totally different story. But that's my win, and I'll shut up because I think I'm like 11 minutes in.
Yeah, the show's over now. Let's hit the outro.
All right.
Let's get out of here.
Have a great weekend, guys.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
Jeff, brother, what's your wins for the week, my friend?
Well, it was that time of year where the way that the market's going and rates are dropping, I got that inevitable call from a couple of my clients looking for reductions. And, those are the toughest things, because you get so settled in and everything like that, you have to pretty much do the grind and say what you have to say. And I said what I did, and I still have the business, but I dropped it quite a bit. And they want to give me more business after that, because they were very appreciative, with the understanding of where they need to be. Because I asked them, where do you need to be? How can I help you get to where you need to be, especially in this market right now? And we had that long conversations. And next thing you know, we agreed. We agreed to disagree, but the overall results was that we agreed. So it was a great win. And we're going to be continuing through next year. So that's always a good win, but it's those tough conversations that you need to have. You don't want to have them, but you need to have them. So it was a good win. That was my biggest win for the week, for sure.
Can I ask you a question, Jeff?
Absolutely.
How do you, because I think it'll benefit everyone listening. How do you go about that negotiation? Like a customer calls and says, hey, Jeff, listen, I need $100 off this lane. The question I have always had, and I love to hear answers from different sales reps, is how do you walk through the conversation to say, okay, I could take $100 off, instead of just saying, yeah, okay, let's do it. And then all of a sudden in their mind, they're going, well, if you were able to take $100 off just from one phone call, why wouldn't you have done it ages ago? So can you just walk everybody through that conversation as to how you kind of went through the negotiation and all that?
Yeah. So when those kind of questions come up, you have to look at the volume, number one, because $100 on one shipment is like really nothing. But when you have 100 loads at $100, now you're talking some serious money, that goes back to their bottom line. So you really have to ask those questions. What does that $100 represent for the customer? Not so much for yourself, but what does it represent? What are they trying to do? And how is it really worth it? You know, the benefits from reducing it or leaving it the same. You know, how is that going to affect the carrier when the carrier's fuel rates are going up and now you're asking for a reduction? So you're trying to explain that to the customer, you know, how the carrier works and operates and what their cost is, and what they do, what they do. What can you do for them? If I bring it down $100, what can you do to speed up, you know, the process on the dock for the carriers? Because carriers really not going to like this because they're moving 20 loads, you know, a week, a month. You're talking $2,000. You're talking $24,000 a year, right? So what can you give them on the back end? Okay, because it's a give and take, a proposition when you're sitting there, right? And it's not an easy fix by any means. So you have to start asking those questions about their internal operations and what you can do to help them to be more efficient. That on the backside, it will help the carrier out. And then you can discuss it with the carrier and saying, hey, listen, I know you don't really want to hear this, but we have to drop it $100. But this is what the customer is going to do to kind of offset that cost reduction to help you speed up your time so you're not here for a long period of time. You're here for 2 hours every time you come in here. We're going to get you down to an hour, you know, that kind of thing. So you're negotiating, you're taking a little bit and you're giving a little bit. And that's the toughest thing that you have to do. But when you know the operations and you kind of understand, especially if you've been at that facility, you know how they operate, that's when you can start throwing the value out and what they can do on the backside to help the carrier out. And of course, the carrier is going to have some questions too. I can't do that. You know, it's all part of the negotiation process, but you have to listen.
But I think everybody understands that it's coming. Like if customers haven't asked for a rate reduction yet,
it's
coming sooner or later. Maybe it's coming in the new year. Maybe they're just going to get through the holiday season. But sooner or later, when markets drop and you've got locked in numbers that are a lot higher than market, it only takes, and even if your customer is not even paying attention to market, it takes one salesperson to call and say, well, I could do that for $800 when you're at 12, for them to go, huh? How? Right?
Well, so, the other thing too is that when you're looking at that, and let's say you have 10 lanes that you're moving, okay, but the customer comes back to you and says, I need to reduce this on lane A, whatever it might be, okay? The first thing that everybody should do, especially in this market right now, is not to concentrate on lane A, but B, C, D, E, and F, because that's going to be coming. So you've got to beat the customer to the punch, because if he's asking for one reduction in this market on one lane, you know for sure that those other lanes are moving. It's only a matter of time, but they're going to come after you and they're going to say, hey, listen, we looked at it. We did an audit in on this one. We need to reduce this by $50. So get ahead of the curve. You know, don't just concentrate on that one, but look at the whole account, and what you're moving it for. And then you can come back to them after you negotiate that one lane and saying, hey, listen, as a value add, we looked at the other ones. This is what we're going to reduce it. This is the end result of what we're going to put back to your bottom line at the end of next year. However, I'm not going to etch that as a contract for the whole year. What I'm going to do is that if we see a huge fluctuation in the fuel, we're going to have another discussion. If we see that the market changes drastically, we're going to have another discussion. We're going to, you know, either increase or decrease accordingly based on what the market is doing. Now, I don't really go too much to the market because I look on the contract side because I do a lot of volume, but it's still the same difference. As that fluctuates, the spot market comes down, it pulls that contract rates down too. So it's going to affect it on the contract business as well as the spot. So you have to look at the whole account as a whole. You just can't look at what the customer's asking, because that's the door opener for you to start digging into the other ones right away.
Well, I love the fact that you know, okay, if we reduce this rate, can we maybe reduce the time the carrier spends on the dock? Like, I think that, Jeff, to me is like the ultimate in full kind of a 360 sales view, because you're trying to take care of that carrier as you're reducing pricing.
Well, you got to
And
look at
listen,
it as a win-win-win, right? I mean,
yeah,
if it, like I said in the beginning, so many times you heard me, there's three parties, stakeholders: service provider, shipper, carrier. It has to be a win-win-win across the board where everybody walks away from that negotiation happy. However, if there's one that walks away and is unhappy, you're not going to go anywhere. I mean, you
yeah.
won't be on that account for a long time. So you
Mhm.
really got to lay it out on the table, what's beneficial to all involved, not for you, not for the shipper, not for the carrier, but everyone. And that's the way you got to go about it. Or you're
Yeah.
going to fail. You're
Yeah.
going to lose that account.
Yeah. DJ has it right too. He says, what does the $100 mean for the customer?
That's it. What does it mean?
Right.
Not for you, not for you, right? Because if you can't service the customer, you're not going to make your margins. You're not going to make your profit. You're going to lose that whole account. So it doesn't matter how much you reduce. You still have the account and you're still operating the account. But if you do it the wrong way, you lose that account. It's going to cost you for the replacement of that customer. You're going to lose whatever you could have had. So there's a lot at stake here. So you really got to be patient in your negotiations and try to uncover what I call that hidden bank opportunity. It doesn't have to be monetary. It could be in many different areas that helps them to
Sure.
be more productive and efficient.
I like this. DJ says, just call clock and like in poker, Ryan. Just kidding. That was for me because I talk too much. So Ryan, what are your wins for the week, brother? We got like 30 seconds left before the show.
Yeah. I'll be really quick. Ready to kind of.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think big win is like, we've for this whole show, we basically booked guests for the rest of the year. So we're all booked. We got jam-packed. We're bringing people with different kind of values and different backgrounds on the show. So I think for me, what's kind of been missing is actually giving that practical advice, because there's so much I can hear about control of the controllables or different kind of things. I want people to actually come in and actually give techniques and tips, right? So we got some video people coming in. We got some people on cold calls. We got people with different backgrounds, especially with the whole women in trucking stuff that happened last week. And I think it was Dallas or Houston and stuff like that. We kind of want to highlight that a little bit more too, right? So I think for me, I'm just excited for the rest of the year, and just to have discussions. We have people like Rico yesterday who crushed it, and just honestly, I'm just really, really grateful and happy for all the audience, all the comments, all the likes, and everyone who reaches out after the fact.
Yeah, we got Jeb Blunt coming up from Jeb Blunt, written 16 New York Times best-selling sales books. We've got Andrea Waltz. We got Brian Biro coming back. I'm wondering if we should do another full day stream in December.
Yeah, if you guys are up for it.
I'm up for it. I'm wondering, DJ, would you be up for it again this year?
Yeah, I'll probably pass on that
watching.
one. But yeah,
DJ,
definitely
would you be
on here.
Yeah, you got to come on too. If one person can't pee for the whole day, then everybody can't pee for the whole day.
Hey, DJ, don't
last year DJ and I did it, and I remember
you guys crushed it. That was awesome.
I was like, DJ, my eyeballs are floating, man. It does. We actually, it was one of these things where DJ and I just said, hey, wouldn't that be pretty cool? And then before we knew it, we had like 20 guests or something, and it was like all the times were done and everyone showed up on time, and it was just so seamless. And you guys notice that? Have you guys ever noticed that when you put your mind to something and you don't think of what can go wrong, it's just like, this is what we're going to do and let's do it, that everything just comes together, and there's like zero friction. And that's the way it was. I mean, we're talking I think we did it on like the 15th of December or something. Like, it was mid-December. So you got to think people's schedules and going to see family, and especially some of the people we brought in. Like, they're having speaking engagements. They're like signing off and everybody just kind of came together. Not one person missed their spot. I think to the point where when we asked Marcus Ogden, he was at an airport. Yeah, he was. It was like, he was at an airport, and it was like this 20 minutes before he was boarding kind of thing. And it's like, DJ's in, sweet, okay. So it's like just this, it all came together. So I think we should definitely do that again, because we can have 10 people on here. Like, Ryan, you're not backing out of this, man. You're
I'm
enforcing it
not.
now.
I gotta walk
We
the
will
dogs.
let
I got
you.
my other things I gotta
We
do,
will
man.
let
I
you
can't do
walk the dogs at lunch. We will let you
Yeah,
do
that's
that kind
right.
of stuff. We'll
Yeah,
back
that's
you up,
definitely
but
definitely a commitment. But
definitely.
no,
So
it was
let's
awesome. I remember
we'll start
watching
putting
last
together.
year. I watched it from like
Mhm.
8. I watched the full show, and I just remember like I was tired from it, so I couldn't imagine what you guys were kind of going through. Right? It was just value after value after value, and it's like you said, like you just didn't have that friction, right? Like if there's audio problems, then it's okay, we'll figure it out. If there's video problems, we'll figure it out. So
Yeah,
no,
Yeah,
it's
that's
Ryan
awesome.
what
went
I
to
got
his
to do.
phone. Ryan went from his computer. Brian Byro went from his computer to his phone in like a split second. It still came on time. It was crazy.
Let's go.
But you know what, Ryan? Maybe that's another day when you and I get together and
Hey, look,
We'll talk about this offline, guys. We'll talk about this
DJ is
yeah,
in. DJ is in.
yeah, DJ's in.
Awesome.
An open house with never-ending guests. That's right. Yeah. Mm.
Awesome.
Speaking about open house, Ryan, have we got the lane of the day? You got that popped up there, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually gonna segue it in for the lanes that maybe Jeff has to reduce costs on this lane, so we'll go to it.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
There we go. So today's lane day is going to be flatbed out of San Antonio, Texas, going to New Orleans, Louisiana. Line haul RPM is looking at $2.51 a mile. With fuel is looking at $3.32 a mile as well. Contract is looking at $3.19 a mile. Year over year change has been up 28 cents. And then we're just looking that, the capacity is like, it's been higher than it was like last year in terms of 24 cents than the October average. So it keeps going up and up, I'll get your steel pipes, get all that stuff moved from Texas over to Louisiana. And yeah, definitely get up there.
There you go.
sweet. Lane of the day. Gotta love that, eh? And gotta love the data that they put out to the market and Tuesday's show and everything. What else is on the pipe for today, gentlemen? What's on the pipe for this week?
Oof.
Oh, it's another strong week. Honestly, gonna kind of take a little bit easy. Try to enjoy the snow that we got in Toronto today. So get out there, just enjoy the time, man. That's the one thing that I love about working from home, and as well doing the show is like you're able to kind of go into nature, have so much fun, and then kind of get yourself rejuvenized.
Did you guys? I read an article this morning, really interesting article from the Globe and Mail, talking about families, how when the pandemic started and people started working from home, a lot of families fled the cities to the suburbs for a more like work-life balance. And now companies across US and Canada are demanding employees come back. And so this one article focused on this one gentleman that left Toronto and went out to Cambridge. And he says, I got great land. It's like the kids are happy, everybody's happy, schools are happy. Now his company has said you have to come back. And he's like 2.5 hours each way to work.
Whew.
And it is literally burning him out, just the drive. And so there seems to be this huge shift in the migration of people. And they're saying it's actually going to cause a huge issue with companies, speculating, right, that it's going to cause a huge issue with companies that demand people are in-house. Interesting, because when the pandemic started, one of the first things I said is, I guarantee you the next kind of evolution of homes is going to be based around the home office.
Yep.
Right, because so many people work from home. You run companies from your house, right?
Yeah.
Like it's no longer just Silicon Valley where you run companies from your garage.
Yeah, Dean put a thing out there, if you remember, it was months and months ago, where he said about home furnishings, and that there was a huge increase, especially during the pandemic when they didn't have a home office and they started building them. And they started liking what they were doing, and it really went up. I forgot what the percentage was, but it was high.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
you know,
it's
especially with like you said, from Cambridge to Toronto, it's a 2-hour commute, and then in Toronto now, the Coopy guys, I mean, the schools, they're going back on strike on Monday, right? So kids are going to be home, and you kind of look at that balance, right? Because look at now, everyone's sick, like everybody and their mother are sick right now because of like the flu and different things like that. So just come back to your comment, I think even for us, when we got this house, I specifically looked at where is going to be my office, right? Because I've worked in the bedroom, I've worked in the kitchen. Those things don't work for me. I need a space. I even put a door in my office so I can literally close the door and kind of shut off everything from the outside, right? So I just think that as
so that
well as
whole
that,
space behind you is your office.
yeah, this whole thing's my office. This is just the first floor. The whole thing's my
Look
office.
at
Yeah,
you,
we got 3
styling,
floors.
brother,
Yeah, we got
styling. Look at you.
style and
I
profiling.
thought that
Got
was
the
Now
just like a
that's a
corner of the
man
living
cave.
room.
yeah, no,
No,
this is
I
literally
am
my room. This is
serious.
my sanctuary, I guess, So from there, and the one thing too that I really liked about COVID that we talked about in Canada is that a lot of people left that job industry because they were staying at home. They started up their own income, and their income has like elapsed that, right? So why be stuck in a commute for an hour when you could be selling things like cakes or like your own stuff, something of like interest to you, right? And still be making a ton of money, right? So value that balance, baby.
Well, something you love, right? I mean, is it really work if you wake up every morning with a smile on your face and you love what you do? Not.
Every day, man. Every day. Every day I
Hmm.
wake up with a
Hmm.
smile on my face and I just laugh. I mean, it's just like it's unbelievable. But I think what happened, and Rico was talking about choice, right? Two choices yesterday. I think what happened is that it really pushed the choice to these employees who were working in the office and finally got to realize what a remote office would look like and how they would work in it for a long period of time. And I think that they adjusted well. I think we can all agree upon that because everybody was efficient, everybody was productive, they still got their job done, and now
Hmm.
they are liking it because they're saving so much money on the back end on fuel and dressing
Food.
up. I mean, if they want to go to work in their pajamas, so be it, underwear, who cares, right? But they got the job done.
Yeah.
And I think that, a lot of people, even if they get let go from their job, if they're really, really good in the industry in which they work in, they're going to figure it out and start their own business up.
Yeah.
Because I think that they're totally ingrained in that home office work environment. I really do.
Well,
Yeah,
I
you know,
also
like
think the next level entrepreneur or the next generation entrepreneur understands wholeheartedly you don't need an office. Like for the
No,
most part, you don't need an office. If you're a lawyer or something, maybe you do need an office because you need somewhere for clients to come. But I see it everywhere in Ontario now, spawning up, just building saying office space for rent. Ryan and I were actually talking about it before the show,
yeah.
where like you can go rent a boardroom, beautifully like catered, everything, Wi-Fi, the cameras, the everything. So somebody's spending $10,000 on the communication systems and everything for like $65 for a morning, and it's where we used to have all of our meetings pre-pandemic when we had the roundtable and we had 5 different carriers come in and we were developing purchasing groups and stuff. $65. Everybody goes there. You kind of drop. You have all your cakes
money
and
well
your
spent.
your
No,
ah, and you're gone. And that's what Ryan and I were saying on the way. We're gonna get together and we're gonna do like a full shoot for the show one morning. We're like, we'll just go rent an office for $50 and sit down in it and settle our cameras up, and then you clean up and you leave
yeah.
and you're done.
And the next person
Right? Like
comes in, right? And that's an
next
additional thing.
person
And
comes in.
That's
and
it.
the one thing we've
But I
seen
think
as
that
well,
go ahead,
sorry,
Ryan.
is
Sorry.
like, like we just have real estate agents popping up too. So even if you're a real estate agent who's like just you're self-employed, you don't need an office space. Most of the time you're going to showings, but if you need people to come do paperwork, just rent an office, for 30 minutes, shows that a little bit of professionalism, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, Daman has a good point. He says companies may be looking to improve efficiency and stay competitive, especially in the markets that are way down. Think about it. Like I remember working with one specific company. I couldn't even imagine what their rent was. But
Yeah.
imagine if everybody was just remote and that like 80 grand a month in rent went to the bottom line. Like, and I understand customers want to know, you're legit, but I don't know. There's something to it. There's something to say about having a 10-foot commute. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? There is.
Well,
There's
and
something to
look
be
at
said
the
about
other
it.
thing too,
Some people
Dan.
can't do it. Some people
Yeah.
can, some people can't, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, but look at this too, right? Another way to look at it, look at Amazon and online buying, right? People got used to going to the local malls and shops and buying what they needed, right? But when the pandemic happened, the malls were closed, nobody was going out, and they learned to purchase over the internet, right?
Mhm.
And e-com started booming like more than ever before. So they got used to it. People that didn't shop on Amazon sites, they started to, right? A little bit different for women because women need to touch and feel what they're buying, compared to us guys. We just buy it and put it on.
Oh, you just opened up Pandora's box there,
Yeah, I was
buddy.
gonna say it's the opposite. It's completely the opposite. Like I found my wife shopping more, but here's the thing though, those places had to adapt, right? Like, okay, Amazon,
Yeah.
for example, my wife bought a backpack from Amazon like 2 nights ago. She wants
Right.
to return it. The previous way would be like, hey, you print off that Purolite or UPS
Yep.
sticker and then you drop it off yourself. They've
Correct.
instituted where you literally put that you put the item in a bag. Somebody's gonna come pick it up from our house and they're gonna
Yep.
label it and they're gonna return it same day by 6 o'clock p.m. Right. So
Yes.
you're looking at that reverse logistics that you always kind of talk about,
Oh
like
yeah.
looking into next year and things like that. And it's a sad thing about malls because I don't know about you guys, but the malls in my area, they're ghost towns. We literally just go there for a
Yes.
walk, maybe grab some mall food and just walk around. But these stores are not like it's not like the old days. I'm hoping that Christmas boom is there, but we're such in an instant gratification society. Like if you buy something off of Nike and you get that track shipment in your email, you're gonna hit track shipment, even though you ordered it like 20 minutes ago. You're gonna want to know where that is, right? So,
Absolutely.
with the whole Amazon things like that, like I don't know if you guys have seen this. Amazon warehouses go up in like seconds. We
Yes.
saw a
Yeah.
complete warehouse in Ajax here. Like I drove by there one time, and then I drove like maybe a week later. I'm like, holy shit, all the framing, everything's done, and
Mhm.
it's crazy. It's crazy to
You're
see.
talking a mega facility too.
Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
We're
At
talking
least
like
50 docks, it's crazy.
huge, massive size.
I've ordered things from Amazon in the morning, and they've
You
been
got it
here
in
at
the
2 o'clock
afternoon.
in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and I'm even talking like I remember just before um, the HPLS summit last year. Sorry, 2 years ago. I was like, oh crap, I need three micro USB cards for the cameras because I wanted to record them on the USB as well as it on the cloud just in case something happened.
Sure.
Like, okay, so where I live, I'm 30 minutes to Staples. And I'm like, the event's tomorrow. I got no time. I went on Amazon and said I could have it by 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Yep.
Boom.
I literally took 30 seconds, probably spent a third less than I would have spent at Staples because I got a 3-pack on special. And it was here at my doorstep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I didn't have to take my pajamas off and put jeans on to leave the house. Like, can you get any better than that?
Yeah.
You can't. It's great. I mean, listen, there's going to be some interesting things happening in the next 36 months. That's going to, I mean, all I see, I don't know about you guys, but all I see is white vans going up and down my road.
Yeah,
And I'm in the
Oh
honestly.
yeah,
country.
Well,
absolutely.
even too, let me bring up this
Absolutely.
discussion to you guys. Look at like Uber Eats and like Skip the Dishes. Before, I don't know, Dan, you remember like back in the day, if we want to get something delivery, it was either pizza or Chinese food. You couldn't get
Yep.
anything else. You couldn't get a
Yeah.
burrito, you couldn't
Yep.
get roti, you couldn't get anything. And like now, I can literally hop on an app, order some. Mind you, I'm paying a premium, right? Like those fees
Yep.
are
Mhm.
ridiculous, but I can have something here. I can order my lunch. I can even pre-order my lunch. I could send a lunch over to Dan if I wanted to, and it's just technology. Like I said, technology could either be your friend or your enemy, but you got to learn to adapt with it because
Now,
that's
don't they have monthly plans where it's free now
yes,
on like Uber or
Uber
something?
Pass.
I don't know. I mean, we
They
still
do.
don't have it out here, but it's yeah, a
Sorry.
pass or something, isn't it? Right? Like even Cineplex,
Yes.
even movie theaters now, you have passes. You can pay like $10 a month, and I think you get like 3 free movies plus 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 plus. Like everything's moving to subscription based. Everything.
Well, here's
Like
the
I
annoying
don't know.
part of that, right? Like you're gonna be
Mhm.
looking at that you just have everything these days. You got to download an app. Like we're going to the Raptors game in December. Back in the day, either you just get your email tickets through your email. You actually have to have this app in order to get in. So just imagine that frustration. People going to concerts, they're going to different events, and they got to have all these apps. And like you said, with the Uber Pass and everything like that, everything's an app these days. So it's crazy.
Hey,
It's
look,
honestly.
you can go to a grocery store and you can go on their app and you can pick out all your groceries. They'll pick it for you, they'll
Yeah,
bag it
I've
for
done
you,
it.
and then
Yeah.
you just go to a certain slot at the grocery store, you text them
Mhm.
what lane you're in, and they bring it all out to you.
Pop the trunk. That's all you got to do.
That's it. I
Yep.
mean, It's
Well, we did that
unbelievable.
during the pandemic, right? Like I did all my shop. And you know what? You're more intentional with it, right? Because
Mhm.
when you're in the I'm not gonna lie, I try to go with the list and I do go with the list, but maybe those Tostitos or maybe that salsa, maybe that cheese sauce, I need that, right? But when you order online, you're very intentional and you make use of the ingredients, right? So I think there's good and bad with both ideas.
See, I love that you said that, Ryan, because me, it's I walk by the chocolate covered almonds and I'm like, oh yeah, well, I need those.
Twinkies, man.
That's a
Twinkies and
staple.
Twinkies
I
and
need
flakies.
that.
Right. You
Yeah.
never go to
Oh
a
yeah,
grocery
yeah, yeah.
store when you're hungry. Never.
You know
Oh,
what?
I
I
always when I avoid that chocolate
Never.
aisle, I actually walk past it. So I've told you guys this many times. I literally have to convince myself to
To
not
not
eat sugar.
go down
Like
it. Yeah.
convince myself. Like I'm bad. I'm
I
bad. No
think you gotta
wonder I'm
take like a
diabetic.
hypnotist class with Clarissa, who was on a couple weeks ago,
What
to get
all
rid of
the
that like sugar addiction. Yeah.
all
Or
the needles or
bring her
whatever.
with you when you go
Yeah.
shopping.
Yeah,
No,
bring her with
no,
you when you go shopping.
All right, boys. Great weekend ahead of us. DJ says
Yes.
can't wait. Great show, boys.
Yep.
Can't wait to join you all again for the event. You know what? We're gonna make it a big one this year. We're gonna make it a big one. We'll get some serious thought going into this and get something really, really special going for y'all. Yeah, let's do it. All right, gents. Ryan.
Take us home, baby. Want to thank everybody for coming out this morning. Amazing episode, amazing week. And honestly, I want everybody to tune in next week because we got some bangers for you. So if you did like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend that you think could bring some value. We will be hitting the replay at 12 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern time on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Everybody, have a great day. Take
Have
care.
a great
Enjoy
weekend,
your
guys. See ya.
Centurion Trucking, our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at American Logistics or Centurion Trucking and start designing your career